Welcome to The Art Box, your podcast dedicated to exploring the vibrant art scene in Nevada and beyond. Join us as we embark on a journey through galleries, theaters, studios, public lands, and streetscapes, meeting the artists, curators, archaeologists, nature lovers, and cultural influencers who shape our creative community and our world. Whether you're looking for your next cultural adventure, seeking inspiration for your own artistic pursuits, or simply curious about the world of art, tune into The Art Box. Together, let's open up a world of creativity and imagination. Let's dive in.
Dreams, what if the night is about you and me? So lift your head up to the sky.
Well, Steve, we're celebrating a one-year anniversary here. Not you and me, but...
Yeah, so Simon, you've been with the city for a year?
About a year, yes. I believe I started like June 5th last year. I looked at my watch, although it's a little bit blurry, but it looks like 5. So.
So Simon Kim is the Development Services Director, City of Mesquite.
Yes.
So congratulations on your one-year anniversary.
Thank you.
And I have had the pleasure of working with Simon on a number of committees. And Simon is he's the best.
Oh, I bet.
No, I know we say that about all of our guests, but Simon is really the best.
Thank you.
He's just so fun to work with. And if you ask if Simon has a to-do, most of the time before the meeting, he's done his to-do. I don't know how he does it. I think he has a clone or something in the office.
Oh, you found it.
So Simon, can you tell us, what is a Development Services Director? What are your duties?
It's to protect public health, safety, and welfare. I'm oversee the Division of Planning and Zoning, Building and Code Enforcement. Basically, guiding the building and constructions, watching out if anything goes against the regulations, which regulation. People might think that regulation sounds really bad, but it is to protect the public in general. So we gotta have to go with it.
Well, planning and zoning is a big deal right now. I just read, it was out in today's Las Vegas Review-Journal. Mesquite is the fastest growing city in Nevada now.
Right.
Like 10%, over 10% growth in the last year.
Right.
So you have a huge job.
Yes.
And plus, everybody on Nextdoor wants to give advice of what you should and shouldn't do as far as how much we should build or where to build things.
No, I cannot regulate how much we should build. It is a market function. So I'm just watching it carefully if they are meeting the minimum requirements. There are minimum standards that need to meet to provide spaces that people can live and work and play. So I need to make sure that everything is done properly. Otherwise, you may end up having the little room you cannot actually stretch your leg and you cannot actually sleep in it. So we are making sure that everything is built properly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What kind of background do you have that brought you to this job? And I believe I read in your bio you did some work in Korea before you came here, and
Oh, I don't think you have enough time here. Right. Yeah, I was born in South Korea, and I got educated in South Korea. My dad, who passed away about 10 years ago, who was the president of one of the university which I was studying at. He was that university president. So
I guess there was a little pressure for you to do well?
Oh, yeah, of course. My professor, they were working for him, so everything I do, he knew about it. So when I just skip the class and go out there and had a date or something, my dad knows already. So it was a tough time. My background is landscape architecture. When I finished my master's degree, I wanted to actually come to the United States and study more on, actually it was computer animation.
Oh,
computer graphics and all those stuff. But my dad didn't like that idea. And amazingly, he got my admission from the University of Sheffield in England without my consent. I have never applied that university, but he got that admission somehow, and that was approved. So we had a deal. After finishing my PhD in England, I would come to the United States and do my study, which I wanted to study. So after finishing my PhD in England, I came to the Virginia Tech as a visiting professor. I stayed there for 3 years, and then I had a J1 visiting scholar visa, which required me to actually go back to South Korea, teach them. The foundation was I acquired the financial supports from the South Korean government. But interestingly, I got monies from the U.S. government, not the South Korean government. So I applied for the waiver, and then they said I need to get a permanent job. Otherwise, what are you gonna do here? You cannot get a permanent the passport. So I applied, and I was interested in planning jobs, so I got a job in Florida. So I moved to Florida. I stayed there about 9 years, and then I moved to Texas. I stayed there about 5 years, and Mississippi 2 years, and then COVID time. I managed the entire city alone in the city hall. Everybody else was gone home. I stayed there and I got burned out. Every phone call was to me. Everybody was asking about the garbage pickup days and pothole issues and all those stuff. So I dealt with it. And after 2 years, I went to Lincoln City, Oregon. And I finished my consulting work for the city for about a year. And then I found a job here, so I just drove down here. It was interesting driving, too. There was nothing between Reno and here, so it was really difficult to find a gas station.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You have to be careful when you travel out west.
Right.
But you didn't know it.
I didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
So you were in Lincoln City, huh?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the Lincoln City Cultural Center?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and
yes.
Nikki Hale Price?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, we interviewed her.
Oh, okay. Great.
When I was up there, very nice lady.
Yeah.
I love the Cultural Center.
Right, yeah.
Addie here. If you are ever in Lincoln City, Oregon, stop and visit our friend Nikki Hale Price at the Lincoln City Cultural Center. The Lincoln City Cultural Center, located in the historic DeLake School building in Lincoln City, Oregon, is a vibrant hub for arts, culture, and community activities. It offers a diverse range of programs and events, including art exhibitions, theatrical performances, music concerts, and educational workshops, all aimed at fostering a rich cultural environment. The center features art galleries, performance spaces, classrooms, and studios, providing opportunities for artistic expression and lifelong learning. Seasonal festivals and special events further highlight the region's unique cultural heritage, making the center a cornerstone of community life and a supporter of local artists and performers. Okay, back to the conversation with Simon Kim. Enjoy. Addie over and out.
It is still owned by the city, and they actually rented it out to the cultural center. Still, they are working together, I believe.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of nice things. Well, I want to ask you a question, but I got to talk a little bit to frame up my question. And you said you're well versed in comprehensive planning. That's strategic planning, urban economics, urban growth management, transportation modeling and planning, housing, economic development, redevelopment, public utilities, environmental assessment and protection, historic preservation, resource management, capital improvement programs, construction, business management, parks and open spaces, design management, GIS, human capital management, environmental justice, budgeting and finance, and pothole filling. So I'm just kidding about the pot. Well, maybe I'm not kidding about pothole. Out of all those, which area makes the biggest impact for the citizens?
Strategic plan would be the biggest impact because there is a level in the planning. Master planning, which outside people calls it comprehensive plan, that is for legislature or the city council in this case. City council usually talk and have public workshops too, but it is about providing guidelines. Now, strategic plan is in between the city and staff and public. So, for example, we have goals and objectives and policies in our master plan. How are we going to achieve it? For example, we need to have a transit-oriented development site, and the master plan goal says city is strive to achieve and build the transit-oriented development. How are we going to do it? Nobody knows. Now, strategic plan talks about how we achieve it. Are we going to go for the federal fund, or are we going to work with the states? Are we going to work with the county? And how are we going to achieve it? All those are in the strategic plan. That strategic plan has to be worked with the staff level too, because staff need to understand what they need to do, and also the citizen level. So when everybody is on the same page at the strategic plan level, we can achieve something. And after achieving those certain goals through the strategies, now we can actually we may change strategies if it didn't work next year. Then we're gonna talk about why it didn't work. County did not collaborate with us. Then we need to figure out what to do with the county. So those strategic plan would be the really important material we need to work with.
Can I ask 3 follow-up questions on that?
I guess.
Okay.
Of course you can.
So again, talking about impacts. Financial impact, because as you decide, people decide, financial impact versus quality of life impact. How do you balance that?
That actually balance all together. You cannot go one alone. You cannot actually go for the quality of life without money. You cannot just go for the money issues without having goals of improving quality of life too. There's gotta be justification if you wanna get money. So both need to be go along together.
Can you talk about a project that you've led that had the biggest environmental impact?
Oh, I did some of the good jobs out there, but the one thing I remember was a park construction project in South Padre Island in Texas. It is a tourist destination, but interestingly, they didn't have a public park. They have a lot of private recreational facilities and leisure facilities, but they didn't have public park. So their yearning was to have one public community park. When I got the job, even I went down to South Padre Island, I was emailing and chatting with the community members. They were asking me, hey, you got a landscape architecture background too. How can we have this public park? So I told them that let's work together. I will need to study about it. So as soon as I got to the South Padre Island, what I did was I found the money available fundings out there. So I found one funding bucket from the Texas Parks and Recreation Commission, which is the state department. And they were funding about $500,000 for a park. And they required the 50% matching. So I looked at how to match that up, and I found the city had a 2-acre vacant land that can be used for a park. So I used it as a matching, but before that I actually subdivide the park into two pieces. So I applied for the first phase, the one piece, and then I designed it. I am the landscape architect, so I designed it. And then I went through the bunch of workshops with the citizen members on what there should be and should not be. We went through the whole the public workshop sessions, and I applied for it, and I got the fund. So I used $500,000 building half pieces of the land, and later we applied another half, and we completed a park. And then we realized that the park needs a maintenance, and we don't have a parks department. So I created a parks department. I hired the parks manager, and then later I hired the parks director later. So it impacted one by one, and then it was really large, getting larger in the end. And I thought it was a fun experience.
That's good. Just one more.
Oh, you're on a roll. Keep going.
How do you measure success?
How do I measure success? Seeing the people's face. If they are smiling enough, that's good. They are mad enough, that means I didn't do right. My art is wrong. So I would see, I'm working with the people. And at first, I would go for the public health and welfare and safety. Then again, I would work with the people to make everybody happy. The planning side, if someone says, I can make everybody happy, that person is lying. I cannot make everybody happy. There will be some people, a couple of people, or maybe many, get mad about my actions or arts. It is what it is. I'm doing my best.
I went down a rabbit hole recently because I was exploring the history of the land by the solar farm.
Okay.
And about 15 years ago, the city of Mesquite tried to annex that land that's in Lincoln County and build a subdivision up there.
Okay.
And later, a judge in Clark County decided he did not want us to do that. So there was a big legal case, and the city ended up giving up the rights to that land. Okay. My question is, we're somewhat like a little island here. We don't have a lot of space. So how do you approach the challenges of being able to find enough land in Mesquite for building new projects or new housing?
Yes, it is a good question, and I'm all for annexing the Lincoln County or even Arizona. There is no problem at all. I don't see any problem because if you see outside, there are many cities that are going across the multiple jurisdictions. So there shouldn't be any problem. I actually questioned about that to several staff members, and although their story that I heard was kind of a little bit of different from each other, but the idea I got was that at that time the city didn't think that that annexation wasn't that necessary. So that was the problem at the time. But if we currently the city residential PUD has been developed about 45% issues. I'm going to make a presentation at June 11th at the City Council about affordable housing issues, and I'm going to talk about those development issues at the same time. But so we still have some land area available for housing development, but still, we see some of the developments actually going toward the north, and there can be some developments toward Arizona. If it is necessary and it is beneficial for the city of Mesquite, I'm all for in annexing those lands, and I will help everyone, including the attorneys and judges, to get that done.
What about the water issue? Everybody's always concerned about us having enough water here. How involved are you with learning about and or talking to the water board about the water?
Yeah, I'm very involved because when I moved to South Padre Island, Texas, they said we don't have water. And then they had a lot of raining, and then they said that you brought in rain and water here. So
Good. I'm glad you're here.
so I'm gonna bring in some water here, I hope. But I don't know if it is a good thing or not, because the natural weather here is a desert weather, not kind of rainy, wet lands area. I have been working with the Water District so far, and we have been meeting some time. I met them early this year, and I watched their presentations. Even before I came down here, I watched them making a presentation, and they mentioned that city is a lack of water. So in a few years, we need to go for the moratorium, and they mentioned about it. But now they are saying we have enough water. So I don't think we are in a situation that we need to worry. We still need to concern about it, and we need to save money, but we don't need to save water, but we don't need to actually worry about water for now.
The moratorium, would that involve like watering, replacing grass with natural landscape?
At first, what I heard was a moratorium of development, because we have a lack of water. Mm-hmm. We cannot provide infrastructure and water toward new development. Mm-hmm. That was what I heard, but now the situation somehow changed. So they are telling that we have enough water for a while. So I think we still, and I'm still working with the water district, and I'm gonna bring up some the regulations that talks about water wise and water conservation ordinances that usually about the lawn yard and or there should be the grabber parking area or lawn grabber area for the open spaces. But I'm working on it, and I will probably bring it to the city council sometime later. But right now, I'm dealing with some other stuff, so it is a little bit kind of tossed behind.
I understand. Now, I could be wrong in this, but I understand there's a large aquifer underneath our ground, but I also had heard that it hasn't been tested since the 1960s to see how much water is in there. Is that correct?
I would defer that to the water district engineers. I wouldn't hastily mention about it, but their projection currently shows that we don't need to worry about it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
Today. Maybe tomorrow.
Smartly answered.
Okay, thank you.
Fragmentation of forms, multiple viewpoints.
Okay.
Geometric shapes, and spatial relationships. And can you talk about Picasso and Cubism?
Oh, yeah. It was when I was in elementary school. My teacher was all into arts, and I didn't know arts, but I drew things at the time pretty well. Right now, I cannot draw a line properly, but when I was young, I did it well. So one day he showed me Picasso, his drawings, and I looked at it and I was laughing. What kind of person's face is like that? And so is it drawn by a kind of primary school student, or what is going on here? And he was looking at me and he said, this was drawn by somebody called Picasso. He was looking at some person's face in a different direction, and he tried to show it in one picture, and he was influenced by the Cezanne. So I looked at it again and I felt differently. Okay, it looks like the strange drawings, but it seems like my teacher is pouring some philosophy into it. I kind of studied about it. I bought photo picture books about Picasso and all those, and I read it. And then I was beginning to fascinated by it. So that influenced my work. I sometimes people say you need to focus on things, and I do too. But in many cases, I don't focus on one thing. I would kind of see other stuff that is actually presented by other people outside of my focus. In that case, I understand what's going on and what I should do from then on. So. I believe I don't even remember the artist name properly, but I remember Picasso and Cezanne.
Addie here. A quick discussion about Paul Cezanne and Pablo Picasso. They are towering figures in the history of art, each contributing significantly to the development of modern painting. Pablo Picasso, 1881 to 1973, was a Spanish painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist, and stage designer who spent most of his adult life in France. Renowned as one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, Picasso co-founded the Cubist movement, which revolutionized European painting and sculpture. His work is often categorized into periods, with the Blue Period, Rose Period, and the development of Cubism being particularly notable. Picasso's innovative use of geometric forms and fragmented perspectives challenged conventional notions of representation, making his works groundbreaking. Paul Cézanne, 1839 to 1906, a French artist and post-impressionist painter, laid the groundwork for the transition from 19th century artistic concepts to a radically different world of art in the 20th century. Cézanne's exploration of geometric simplification and optical phenomena inspired many modern artists. His unique method of building form with color and his analytical approach to nature profoundly influenced the development of Cubism and abstract art. Cézanne's work emphasized the underlying structure of objects, which can be seen in his still lifes, landscapes, and portraits. Picasso often cited Cézanne as a significant influence on his own work. Cézanne's innovative techniques and perspectives provided Picasso with a foundation to further explore and break traditional artistic boundaries. While Cézanne's work bridged the gap between Impressionism and the new artistic movements of the early 20th century, Picasso's groundbreaking work in Cubism and beyond pushed those boundaries even further, leading to new ways of seeing and interpreting the world. Addie, over and out.
And those people influenced my work greatly, I believe.
Do you think at some point you'll do some computer animation just for yourself? You said that was an early interest, right?
I did some years ago, and still sometimes for just the fun, I try to do it. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, when I see the final product, what I see is not satisfactory. I saw a lot of good graphics and drawings out there, and my drawing isn't actually reaching that far. So it actually stayed somewhere when I was maybe 10 years old or 15 years old. So I have not been improved my skill sets so far. So yeah, I do that for fun sometime, and then I just trash it as soon as possible before anybody sees it.
Oh no! You should come to Tyler's drawing class.
Yeah.
We have great fun there. Where will the new Trader Joe's go?
Oh. That I didn't check on that. I heard about it, but I didn't check the details. I'm sorry. I had to deal with this multiple sidewalk vendors out there. So
Right after you do that, the Trader Joe's.
it comes first, then
Sorry, I just had to throw that in for fun.
yeah.
You did, didn't you?
Addie here. I recently read on Nextdoor that a Trader Joe's was going to be built in Sunset Greens. But what do I know?
So can we go way back? Not way back, because you're still a youngster yet. Can we go back to young Simon?
Yeah.
And were you little? Were you playing in the dirt and building cities and Trader Joe's and roads and gardens and things in the backyard?
I was playing with the toy gun rather than building the urban areas at that time. So.
Understand, I played with toy guns too. Didn't you, Steve?
Yes, we did.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in a neighborhood of all war heroes, so.
Yeah, we played war, we played Man from U.N.C.L.E., Spy, all that stuff.
Well, did you do art when you were in school? Was there?
Yes, I did. I got a couple of awards when I was young. Then again, I got probably snub or something because it's an extracurricular things. So I was drawing well, and teacher would ask me out for the drawing contest out there during the regular session of the classroom. I went out and then I enjoyed the outside, and I just ran around and played with the other kids rather than drawing. So I haven't got much awards since then. So I was more active kind of rather than sitting down and drawing. Yeah, I from time to time I thought about what if I just draw and focused on my drawing, what would happen right now, but it didn't happen that way.
No, and you're happy with the way it turned out. So.
And there's a lot of art in what you do.
Yeah.
The AI, how that helps you, what advantages you see, what horrors you may see going forward with AI.
I have a pretty kind of cautious approach to these AI issues. But right now, what I'm dealing with is pretty primitive AIs. I think I can handle them, but I'm actually worrying about those AIs the big companies bragging about.
What individual has most influenced your life?
It would be my dad. As I mentioned earlier, he was the president of the university, and he controlled almost of my life. I was trying to get away from it, so I didn't follow 100% of his direction. But still, he influenced my life. And because of him, I believe I'm here.
Yeah, well, thank you to your dad.
Sure.
What's inspired you this past week?
My wife.
Boy, he's staying out of trouble.
Yeah. My wife always trying to inspire me. I'm still a young boy, so I would like to purchase what I would like, and she's always giving me a break. And giving me instructions and giving me ideas of being a household and leader of the household. She has been correcting my schedule and going into the right direction. So she inspired me, and I'm going to recommend her to listen to this podcast.
Well, I hope so, because we're going to want to know what she says. Yes. We always like to know what the spouse has to say about it.
Well, Steve, this has been so interesting. And Simon, I feel so reassured as a citizen of Mesquite to know that you're here working for our city. It seems like you do an awful lot, you know an awful lot, and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks for what you do, Simon.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the Mesquite Works STEAM Center in the scenic Mojave Desert, the Art Box sponsors thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are on Facebook and Instagram as The Art Box. We welcome all comments. You can email us at artboxvv@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of its hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.
Then I see the